And good evening and welcome to the Murfreesboro City School Board meeting for August the 9th. We're glad to have those of you that are with us here tonight, and we're glad to have those of you that are watching at home. Now at this time we've got 4 students that are going to lead us in our pledge. Cooper Stump, a 2nd grade student from Reeves Rogers, along with Ainsley Hall, 6th grade from John Pittard, Maggie Tate, 6th grade from John Pittard, and also John Eric Hall, a 5th grader from John Pittard. We'll do that and then follow with our moment of silence. Who didn't get here?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now our moment of silence. Thank you. All right, you have your agenda in front of you, board members. I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. King. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. I went brain dead. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? And there is none. All right, Dr. Gilbert, communication.
The first communication is I'd like to congratulate Mr. Campbell and Mr. Barrett on their re-election. We're delighted to have you on the board again. And Mr. Campbell, I'll let you introduce the new board member or future board member.
I will be more than happy to. Mr. Wesley Ballard. Wesley, if you want to stand up, please. We are welcoming you to our board coming up in a couple of weeks and glad to have you with us here tonight. And we also have David Settles, who was also elected to the board tonight, but David could not be with us tonight.
Okay. At this time, I'd like for Lisa Trail to come up for communications, please.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the new school year. We have 6 of our 12 schools that I'm going to kind of go over with you tonight. They have a lot of thank yous. We had a lot of people that helped us kick off a successful 2016-17 school year. Before I go to the schools, I want to go ahead and announce that Mr. Lyles, our Community Initiatives Coordinator, has been reappointed by the Governor Haslam to serve another 3-year term on the Volunteer Tennessee Commission. Greg does a really good job of representing us on that commission and has brought back a lot of great ideas for not only our schools but our community. So, on behalf of Mitchell-Nielsen School, we would like to thank the following supporters. The Experienced Church for supporting their back-to-school bash. They provided inflatables, they manned carnival games, and most importantly, they served over 650 hot dogs. And then they cleaned it all up. So, nothing like having a supporter that actually sets it up and cleans it up. Right, Robin? The best. First Baptist Church on East Castle, First Baptist Church on Main Street, and the staff of BJ's Restaurant and Brew House at the Avenue for their generous donation of time and labor. They worked quite a few hours to beautify their campus, spread mulch, all that kind of good stuff. Again, our community partners are fabulous. Third Baptist Church for hosting the 7th annual back-to-school luncheon for Mitchell-Nielsen faculty and staff. The staff members are always happy to be fed. They also provided over 140 backpacks full of school supplies. They're also lunch buddies. They do tours. They're just a great volunteers for Mitchell-Nielsen. Home Depot for their generous donation of large tubs to help organize our uniform closet, so that's very important. And then Katie Smeltzer and Sinette P. with Bob Parks Realty, they filled a huge bag, and I'm talking a huge bag of classroom supplies for every teacher at Mitchell-Nielsen. So Mitchell-Nielsen has begun with plenty of supplies in hand, but we will not turn down any. Just that. Hobgood Elementary, as most of you know because you were there, celebrated the 60th anniversary on July 30th. We used that anniversary date to also do the ribbon cutting, and it was a hot day, but we had lots and lots of children, parents, community members there. We appreciate everyone being there. We want to also thank the ones who helped make it a success: Linebaugh Library, Child Advocacy Center, Olive Branch Church, the Real Life Community Church, First Baptist Church on Castle Street, the Beasley Animal Foundation, the Masonic Lodge 347, New Vision Church, and Girl Scouts of America. Again, these churches and the Masonic Lodge gave out school supplies. They gave out backpacks. They provided food. They provided entertainment. We cannot pull off community events like that without these wonderful relationships that we have. So my accolades go out to Dr. Garrett for pulling that off. Irma Siegel Elementary, I'd like to thank First United Methodist Church for providing over 600 ice cream cones during the open house. So they provided the ice cream, they scooped the ice cream. That's a lot of ice cream. Also, MTSU cheerleader Maddie Smith dressed as a Siegel Eagle, and she greeted everyone as they came back to school for this school year, which was a lot of fun for the children. Northside Baptist Church delivered over 50 backpacks full of school supplies. So once again, we've got school supplies coming in, and we're proud to have those for our children. Overall Creek, Publix on Old Fort Parkway, that's one of their big partners, so Publix always comes to bat for Overall Creek. They actually sponsored the Meet the Teacher night, had food and all the kind of goodies around. Cason Lane Academy got off to a bang this year with a big open house. Wilson Bank was one of the supporters of the open house, and Wilson Bank is also opening a school inside of Cason Lane for our children this year, so they will be the first school bank for the students in a long time. Christian Life Church for their help during Campus Cleanup Day and supplying tables for open house. Again, Christian Life came on a Saturday. Their church members cleaned up, pulled weeds, mulched. They did a tremendous job, along with a lot of our staff members as well. There was some sweat equity there. Fellowship United Methodist Church for the multiple supplies donated for Team Building Day. Chick-fil-A also donated supplies for Team Building Day, and then Farm Credit Mid-America and the Coordinated School Health Department for funding and building a new greenhouse for the Farm to School program. That greenhouse is located near the tennis courts of Cason Lane, so if you're looking at Cason Lane, it's kind of on that right-hand side. Bradley Academy would like to thank City Church for their continued support. Every staff member was greeted with welcome presents from the church. Also, the alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi for greeting our children on the first half day of school. They were right there with the bus stops, greeting, cheering them on, giving them high fives and salutes that day. Again, this is 6 of the 12 schools. We have so many partners, we didn't want to go through everything tonight, and there's, I'm sure, a lot that we left off as well. We also want to take time to thank our United Way. They have provided over 2,000 backpacks for Murfreesboro City Schools. Those backpacks are divided among the district schools. So that is my communication report. Any questions? I'm sorry.
This is overwhelming.
It is.
This is fabulous to have so many community partners and for y'all to coordinate it. I know it took, you had to ask and coordinate it and all that, but this is thousands of people that helped get our schools open. And I've been able to go to some of the open houses, and I got to go to the fabulous celebration in Hopgood, and that one event was amazing, all that was done. And for them to provide all that food and to clean up, like you were saying, is fabulous. So thank you to anyone that was involved with that, and thank you for the coordination that you and the other members of the staff did.
Greg and his team worked with the principals and their teams and do an amazing job. And again, these are things that help our students, they help our teachers, they help us get back to school just off with a bang. There's not a reason for a child in Murfreesboro City Schools not to have school supplies.
I really appreciate the principals understanding how much of a difference that can be made in the schools by their outreach. So thank you, principals, for what you do with that, too.
Thank you, Ms. Treya. Appreciate your report. And it was a very good report. We appreciate all those that dive in and help us get school started and continue to help us throughout the school year. All right. Consent items. I have a motion to approve those of the minutes from June 13th and also June 28th. I have a motion to approve the consent items.
So, go ahead. I'll second. Go
All
ahead.
right. Motion by Mr. Barrett, second by Ms. Ranier. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? And there is none. Thank you. Action items.
Your action item has to do with the grading system. This actually came about because we had representatives from every school, every grade level at the central office, and they discussed how they would like to change the report card. We took a look at the TSBA policy, and so you have the TSBA recommended version before you. That is your first document. Then right after that, you have the MCS staff recommended version. The difference in that is we really didn't feel like that there was a need for the statement of the grading assessment system shall be uniform district-wide at comparable grade levels, except that the director of schools shall have the authority to establish and operate ungraded and or unstructured classes in grade K-3 according to state rules and regulations. The previous part of that delegates to the director of schools through an administrative procedure to be able to establish a grading system and to change it. I think this is really important because I think it does enable us to change the grading system if we see a need for that, if the teachers and principals see a need for that, without having to come to the board for 2 readings. And so one big reason for this meeting tonight is because we needed to have this and could not delay it any further once that decision was made. So what you have is you have the recommended version would be like the TSBA version, but with the strike-throughs, and I have attached the current policy and can discuss the administrative directive and the differences with that, if you'd like, before you vote on the policy, because I think it's important for you to know what the recommended changes were. So your current policy is the grading. It has the grading system. If you look about middle ways there, line 9, this is for the behavioral section of the report card where it says personal and social development. At the current time on our report card, we just have an N for needs improvement and we have a blank for satisfactory. The feeling from the teachers was that the blank really, parents have a hard time understanding that means satisfactory. On the other hand, they feel like that there should be something else there that indicates that the child is improving. And so you'll note that when we get to the AD, we've changed that. Also, another thing that the teachers wanted is the second grade teachers feel very strongly that their grading system needs to match third grade. So if you look at the administrative directive that has grading system and it's AD-IS 5, this would be what I would recommend for the AD, and why I'm asking you to vote the changes in the grading system policy. So this would be the AD that would follow up on the policy that I'm asking you to vote for, and here are the changes. If you look at in the middle where it says kindergarten and first grade academic progress, it has an M, P, N, and dot. They felt like, the teachers felt, again, that the idea of an M for behavior would indicate meeting expectations of behavior. The P would be progressing through grade level expectations. So that would be showing that the student was actually making progress toward the meeting the expectations of the behavior. And then the N would be needing improvement. So how that would change from what we have currently in policy. Currently we just have for behavior N, needs improvement, blank, satisfactory. That would change to M, meets expectations, P, progressing toward grade level expectations, and N, needs improvement. And then your kindergarten and first grade would remain the same as it is now, with M for meets expectations, P for progressing toward grade level expectations, N would be needs improvement, and the dot would be not addressed during the grading period. And then your academic progress for second grade would match your third through sixth grades, which would be A, 93 to 100, B, 85 to 92, C, 75 to 84, D, 65 to 74, and F for below 65. So that would be what the AD looks like, and I felt like it was important for you to understand what the administrative directive would look like in order for you to vote on the recommended board policy, which is the 4.6. And I hope I haven't confused you. Any questions you have about that?
All right. Ms. Ranier?
Excuse me. I don't have a question. It's just basically a comment. Let me find the right place. The part on your AD that talks about the 4 reports are made during the year,
right,
and that the parent conferences, the 2 days for parent conferences. Do you not feel that that might need to be in the policy itself?
I don't think
it's
so.
okay just
I
having
think
it
it's
here?
fine, because that way we can change it. If something happens that we need to change, we can change it right
Without
away
us.
without having to come back to the board.
Okay.
And I think TSBA, when you look at their policy, what it says is, I will come to you if there are any changes that are going to be made.
Okay. And are second grade teachers actually going to give percentage grades?
That's what they asked to do.
That's what they want to do?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Smith?
I guess it's more of a follow-up of that. So the second grade teachers asked for this. Can you give me a little background about why they wanted to make that step?
Sherry, would you come up to the podium, please? Because I know that you were in there when they started the discussion, and then you called me in.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We did call in our K1 and 2 teachers to review the report card, and when we did that, the second grade, we had a representative from each school, along with coaches, just looking over it, and that is the consensus that they came to, was to go to the same grading system as 3 through 6.
What was their reasoning behind that?
They just felt like it was a little easier for parents to understand, and then when we made some adjustments to the report card, it would go along with that.
And did they feel like, I mean, I'm totally just wondering, did they feel like second graders, I mean, there's a little more pressure when you go into third grade and you've got to get an A or B or whatever. Did they feel like the second graders, that was an okay standard for them?
Yes, I think so. They just felt like it was easier for the parents to understand and for the transition into third.
And
Go ahead
they
and do
didn't
it.
feel like that was, I'm always concerned because our kids and our teachers have had so much pressure
Sure,
lately that you think the teachers will be
Oh,
good with
yes.
that.
They were, yes, on board. They have wanted, I think they would have even loved to have done it last year if they could have.
I think one of the things that I heard when I was in there is they felt like there would be more consistency across the
Correct.
district among the grades at that particular grade level, too.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And will this impact this school year?
Yes. And that's why we wanted to get it to you, because there has to be a progress report that goes out midway in the 9 weeks, and then the way state law reads is that parents have to have a report. The max time they can go without a report is 9 weeks. Well, with our teachers, the 9 weeks in, and then the report card comes out after that. So that's the reason we have the mid-progress report. And so we needed to go ahead and get this to you so that they could go ahead and use it when they do that mid-progress report.
So when...
And we'll communicate with that with the parents. In fact, it was encouraged to be talked about at the grade level meetings, but I'm not sure that would happen. But yes, we will get probably a hard copy out about it, really, we'll get it out to the parents. I was going to say just to the second grade, but because that behavior is changing, we'll need to do that too.
And some of the classes may not have had their parent meetings either.
Right.
So they would make sure to
Right. And
tell them
teachers
that.
were going to discuss this at their open house or their room meetings in the next coming weeks with the parents.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Ranier?
Is the report card itself going to be changing?
The K through 2 is going to change a little bit, more teacher-friendly, parent-friendly, and student-friendly,
Okay.
just so that it's easier to understand by all.
Okay.
And we did the same process. We invited a representative from each school to look at the report card and make those changes. And then they went back and shared that with their teams.
And are the mid-progress reports, are those consistent throughout the system or throughout a school or a grade level? How is that done?
The progress report itself, well, because of the report card is standard-based, those events now are going to change a little bit in the grade book. So now the report card is going to match more of the events in the grade book, if that's making sense, so that it's easier understood.
Okay, good.
Does that make sense?
Sounds great. Thanks, Sherry.
Sure.
Mr. Barrett?
I got just a few things. The new policy, line 8, it says submit a copy. Is that the administrative directive? Is that our copy
Yes.
of it? Okay. That answers that question. Second question, and it's already been kind of alluded to, the parent-teacher conferences, the number of, is that set anywhere, or is that just up to us how many we can do per year? Or like, we do one in the fall, one in the spring, but is that state statute, or is it set by us?
And it is in service hours.
Right, before they were doing it after school, and then we moved it to during the school day.
But they leave it up to us, and they don't set, I mean.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I wasn't sure.
I would think so.
I wasn't sure. It was just something that came up.
A million parent-teacher conferences.
If you
I think the
want.
state law is
I don't think
pretty
the teachers
generic.
would want that, but.
Yeah.
And then, point of curiosity, I guess, maybe because I'm not used to it. So for the lower grades, we're doing the letter grades for the 2 through 6. Why not for the, maybe I'm just naive to it, or I don't know the process and I'm not coming from that side, but why not the grades for the K through and kindergarten, first grade?
I think that the teachers felt like that when you're looking at kindergarten and first grade, that the standards, I think that this is pretty applicable to that. But I think when you get into second grade and you get into third grade up, and you're consistent with middle school, you're consistent with high school, you're consistent with the assessment, and you're really looking at a more, not necessarily objective, but in your lower grades you may be looking at portfolio assessments, for example, that are not readily gradable by a number grade.
Okay.
In fact, the state will be moving more toward portfolio assessments with KN1 pre-K and K next
So
year.
this more jives with what the state's trying to do. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it.
All right, any other discussion on the policy?
Mr. Barrett actually asked my questions. We're approving a policy, and the directive is...
Right. Yes, you're approving the policy, and I'm sharing the directive and what it will be.
It backs up the policy.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the policy?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Have a second, Ms. Rainier. All right, any other discussion, question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? And there is none. All right.
All right, thank you very much. Reports and information. The first report is from Greg Lyles with summer camps and activities.
Thank you. I want to give you a brief update on our summer activities that occurred. First of all, as far as outreach, we really started our summer off with, as you know, Candy Clifford retired, so we interviewed a large number of applicants, but we have found her replacement. We've hired Jolene Ratnati, who was formerly a administrative assistant with Mr. Marlin in the special ed department. So she's our new Candy Clifford. So she's excited about being a part of the outreach team. We started our summer with a girls and boys camp at Rees Rogers, and thanks to Ms. Offit for opening her doors to us. We've had the camps in the past at Bradley, we've had it at Hobgood, and because of all the construction that was going on this summer, she allowed us to be at Rees Rogers, so we were very grateful for that. They were very accommodating, and special thanks to Miss Sally, who is our ESP site director, for being accommodating with our two camps. The first camp was the week of, sorry about that, let's do, well, was our GEMS camp, which is a girls' camp. It's normally a 5-day camp, but because of Memorial Day, the girls got cut short a day, so it was a 4-day camp. We were, Stones River Mall was one of the big partners in that program. Our kids had a very good experience in learning about business and merchandising at Stones River Mall. Another big day in the camp was the MTSU Science Day. We actually got to go on the MTSU campus and they experienced campus life. They got to eat in the Macaulay cafeteria with all the summer kids for lunch. So we appreciate MTSU again partnering with us. Boys Camp was the following week, June 6th through the 10th. This is the 5th year, I believe, for the Boys and the Girls Camp. And then we partnered with Project Transformation, which is a program we've done with the last 2 years in partnership with the United Methodist Church. It was hosted at Key United Methodist Church, and one of our teachers, she was here earlier, Jennifer Hall from John Pittard, is very instrumental in helping us organize that camp. It was an 8-week camp. There were 2 family nights during the 8 weeks, and the kids walked away at the end of that period with at least 5 new books from Project Transformation. We also partnered with Steve Cates and the Appalachian folk dancers. You know, each year he brings dancers from across the country to our community. And this year we hosted the Puerto Rican dancers at Patterson Community Center. And our ESP kids were allowed to come to that with free admission. And then our Hispanic outreach coordinators worked with their parents in providing lunch for the dancers and those volunteers with that program. And then finally, we had the Boost Camp. It's a partnership the last 2 years with Olive Branch Church. They're also one of our summer feeding sites. So our kids in that camp, along with Project Transformation, they were served free breakfast, free lunch through our summer feeding program. And that program ran from June 1st through June 30th in that partnership. So that's kind of a quick summary of our summer activities with Murfreesboro City Schools.
Thank you, sir, very much. Good activities all summer long, and certainly reached a lot of students and helped them out throughout the summer.
Thank you.
Job well done. Thank you. Construction and maintenance update.
Thank you. I passed out this evening to you a district-wide construction and renovation major projects update. I wanted to go over with you, let you know a lot of things went on this summer. At Bradley Academy, we did the restroom renovation and intervention room conversion, and that project was completed. And if you get a chance to go by there and look at it, it really does look nice. We're real proud of that. But that project is done, and everything is going fine at the school right now. At Northfield, we shut the school down to extended school program. They moved it to another school so we could totally paint the entire school inside. We did that, and if you get a chance to go by Northfield and look at some of the creative painting we did in the gymnasium to basically honor their school mascot, and just go take a look at it and see what we've done there. It's very amazing how it looks, but that school's been totally painted over, so it looks really good on the inside now. At Hobgood, as you know, we had the ribbon cutting ceremony. We've added the gymnasium and the classrooms and the music rooms, and converted and renovated the kindergarten classroom section and made them individual classrooms instead of open spaces. So we're real proud of that one, and that project is also completed. At Reeves Rogers, we had a kitchen vent hood that did not work, has not worked for years, and as part of the Energy Efficiency Schools Initiative money, we were able to totally replace that vent hood with an energy efficient one that now recycles the air, pre-treats the air so it doesn't take all the air out of the building or leave all the hot air in the building. So that was a good move, and that also was completed over the summer, and it's in place and working now. The tennis courts there were not really well built for tennis. And so rather than tear them completely out and redo them, we converted that into a hard play surface, and we put a new topping on that. It was just not feasible to we would have had to have redone the whole thing, because at some parts it was like 2 inches of asphalt, and other places there were 6 to 8 inches. So we decided to just turn that into it, and it was not a level surface. So we made that a hard play surface now, and that project is completed. At Discovery School, we totally converted the old air conditioning system to the variable refrigerant flow HVAC system, which provides a much better learning environment in the classrooms. It's the same thing we did at Reeves Rogers a few years ago, and when we added on Hobgood, we converted the old classrooms there to that system. So that one is also completed, and we're real happy with the way that one's come around. They did get it done over the summer, which was really pushing it, but they did make the complete conversion. As you know, we did get the Energy Efficiency Schools Initiative, so in addition to those projects that I just mentioned, we also did exterior lighting at Black Fox, Cason Lane, and Bradley, which really lit up the parking lots. We used LED lights now rather than incandescent or fluorescent lights. We totally relit Black Fox and Cason Lane's interior schools from the older type of lighting they had there. We redid the lights in the lobby at Bradley because those were very, very different type of lighting fixtures, and we put LEDs in there to brighten that up. We redid the gym lighting at John Pittard, Irma Siegel, and Scales. We had chiller replacements at Cason Lane and Black Fox. If you remember last year during the summer, Northfields went down, and we replaced that one. And so we replaced Cason Lane and Black Fox this year, and our intention is to replace Irma Siegel's next year when we go through and look at all of our upgrades and things we need to do for energy efficiency. We did boiler replacements at Northfield and Black Fox, and the reason for those is because they were both about the same age and they need to be replaced because they were totally inefficient units. Still in the process of working with EESI is HVAC retro commissioning and controls. When you do a school, over time, the controls, we don't really know if they work or not until you do this project. And so we have got that in our timeline, that and install new gas metering systems. If you remember, we purchased a program that we can monitor on a daily basis. And I would ask anybody who would like to see it. It's an open program. It's at energy.cityschools.net. And that program shows our actual live usage up to the minute. It actually, as you're watching it on the screen, it changes. But what we're doing now is we did electric metering, and now we're going to add gas metering to the schools that have gas. And so that will then become a second piece of it. And it's very interesting, in the schools that we upgraded the chillers and the lights, the difference in the kilowatts that we use is drastic. We're very happy with that improvement. At some point, we would like to show you at a work session or something what the differences they did and what we're actually monitoring now in our energy. Basically, that's the energy efficiency parts. What's the future projects is Black Fox Classroom Edition. We have the architectural plans are being finalized and will be going up for bid. They're going to do some pre-construction meetings here pretty soon. Construction would start later this fall, and it should be finished online for our kids to start in the expanded school next summer of 2017. That is in the city's capital improvement plan, so we're just moving along and progressing on that one. Also, another one that's in the city's capital improvement plan is the transportation facility. We have basically outgrown our transportation and maintenance facility. With the buses and the fact that we have a driver and we have a bus assistant, we have mechanics, we have office people, we have about 100 cars parked on that lot, plus about 35 buses, plus all the other equipment that's used there. So we are in need of another facility. We're looking at moving the transportation facility to another location, which would be the easier one for us to move. So we're looking for land right now for that. But that is also, the city has approved that in their capital improvement plan, and so we're a little further behind on that one than we are Black Fox, but we're looking to move forward with that as soon as we can. That's the end of the construction and maintenance report for the summer. As you can tell, we were very busy this summer, keeping multiple balls in the air as we were juggling summer school and everything else.
What was the address again? Energy.schools.net?
Energy.cityschools.net. And you don't put www in front of it. It's just straight energy.cityschools.net, and it's open live to anyone who wants to look at it to watch our daily consumption. We have shown it to the schools and to the teachers so they can use it for math programs in their schools, math problems. And I know some teachers have used that to do all kinds of comparison graphs and charting and things. So, but it really helps us know what we're doing in our energy consumption.
Any questions? All right, Mr. Barrett and Ms. Smith.
I'm glad we're doing all these energy efficient things. That always helps us on our budget, saves us money. Is there any plans to add anything else to the website? I know looks like we're going to add gas. Are we going to add water too?
Water is the next chart over. We actually have electric, gas, and water. The electric was obviously the biggest consumption. Our smallest dollar consumption is water, so we were going to do that one last.
Okay.
There are some more energy efficiency loans that are coming up, and so we're going to see, we're kind of getting out of the arena of what qualifies because we've done all the ones that easily qualify. So we're going to have to see what we can do now to get some more of the funds that the state makes available.
All right, Ms. Smith.
I love how you're monitoring all this. That is a boring way to spend money, is on gas and electricity. I'd much rather spend school money on fun ways for kids to learn. And also, I've heard that the Discovery School is quite cool, so that is definitely working. Tell me, is the court at Reeves Rogers, is it lined? Does it have new goals?
At Reeves Rogers?
Yes.
What they're going to do is they're going to make it multi-use. They're going to paint, and I'm not sure. Have the stripes been painted already?
And then we had a teacher, Jennifer Stanley, do a Donors Choose grant, and we got 2 portable basketball goals.
Fantastic. And did the fence remain or not remain?
It remained.
And you got so much accomplished this summer. Is there anything that didn't get accomplished that was on your to-do list?
No, we got all of our major projects done. We got our major painting project done. Our goal right now is to try to do repaint one school every year so we can keep a rotation going. Because we've had some schools that are 15, 18 years without complete repainting. They'll touch up. But we're trying to get it on a cycle now since we have 2 full-time painters to be able to come in the summer and do a whole school at a time. And then do the touch-ups during the year.
Well, that Northfield gym is exciting. It's pretty awesome. So, and I'm glad that you got to show it off to your voters. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on Mr. Anderson's report? All right, thank you, sir. All right, revenue.
Okay, the next one is in your packet. It's the revenue and expenditure report. This is the unaudited version through the complete year. It's 100% of the year. And the auditors are in the district right now. They've got an audit team of 4 auditors that are in our district right now doing audits. Last year, the net income at the end of the year, we were up $284,000. This year, we're up $571,000. So that's obviously a good thing to come out a little ahead. The reason for that is on the revenue side, property taxes, we increased our share of property taxes $1.5 million over the previous year. The second increase was $832,000 on sales tax. That was our share of the sales tax revenue. And as you know, sales tax and property tax are split between the city and the county school system. And the city contributed an additional $500,000 to our program last year. Overall, our total revenue increased a little more than $6 million for last school year. On the expenditure side, our expenditures, we spent a little less than $6 million more than the previous year, hence the additional money to be going back into the fund balance. So we had a good year. We're very fortunate that we did have the additional property and sales tax and city money come in, and so we ended up with a good, solid year in operations and in our budget. So if anybody have any questions about that, the audit will come out later, as you know, and we'll have the more solidified actual numbers if they have any. They typically have adjustments for things that we don't deal with on a daily basis. That goes into the government.
Mr. Barrett?
So with the addition here at the end of our fiscal year, what's our fund balance currently?
At the end of this fiscal year?
Yeah.
I didn't bring that with me, but we ended up, I'm sorry I didn't bring that number with me. We added with $500,000 more, basically.
Okay.
We we were going to use right down to the bare bones, so this actually helps us.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
We had projected a little increase in fund balance, but not quite this much, so that was
Okay.
good.
Ms. Vernier?
So these are final figures for last school year then?
Yes, this is what ended on June 30th, right?
Could you send us, when you get a chance to figure out the fund balance, if you could, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Other reports, personnel?
You have your personnel report. Mr. Ringstaff, anything that you need to share as far as personnel? Or any questions from the board? Or
For the beginning of the school year, we will have hired 83 certified personnel and about 25 classified personnel, full-time, and several more part-time personnel. You have your list here, licensed personnel hired, classified, and people who resigned, retired, terminated. And then behind that, you have your assignment list for each school of certified positions. Any questions?
Mr. Barry?
I've been hearing some stories on the news, and I'm sure everybody else has, about other districts not being able to find enough teachers or having empty classrooms with no teachers in them at the start of the school year. We're not running into that, right?
No, sir. Ms.
Okay.
Arnett and I, we started recruiting last February.
That's what I thought. I know you've been working hard on that. We appreciate that, so thank you.
Are we got everybody hired today that we know of we need?
Knock on wood, yes, sir. We have a couple of interim positions still that we need to fill.
A couple what?
Couple of what?
Interim
interim,
teaching,
okay.
6 to 8 weeks.
Are we not going to have, my understanding is that there's some very large sixth grades. We're not going to need to hire to fill.
Right now, all classes meet the state guidelines, and we still feel that we have a low PTR for the most part. I think you have those numbers in front of you.
Ms. Renier?
Thank you for this report. I had written Mr. Ringstaff earlier today. Looking at this, we hired 79 new folks, correct? And then as far as the resignations, retirements, and terminations, there were 43. So my concern is, are we retaining our good teachers? I'm a little worried about that. I don't know how many were retirees and so on and so forth, but that seems to be a large number for 1 year, 43 folks.
I really haven't compared this year to last couple of years, and I can do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, in regards to that, any more questions for Mr. Ringstaff? Anybody on the report? We discussed last year during budget time, because we were not providing increases, step increases for those people in the gap. We got two sections, am I right? 15 to 20 and 25 and above?
Yes, sir.
20 to 25.
Okay, I would like for us at our next board meeting, if you could get us a number that are in each one of those categories, so that we can discuss the possibility of giving them the bonus that we had talked about doing, and go ahead and try to get that in the process if possible. Can we do that?
Yes, sir. If you can refresh my memory on, I think we talked about a certain amount of bonus at the 17-year mark.
Well, what we talked about was those people in the gap areas, and because they were not getting the step increases.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we talked about perhaps coming back if we had money at the end of the year and so forth, and giving them a bonus, so to speak, which would just be a one-time bonus for those teachers. But I think we'll need to know how many people we have total in those gap areas, and then Mr. Anderson can give us a little bit of an idea of what our revenue is at that particular time, to determine whether or not we can give bonuses and how much. As I went back, if my memory is correct, and I did not look it up before today, but most all of our increases that we gave teachers of 3%, most all of them in each level was a little bit better than $1,000. I would love to see us be able to do $1,000 for those people in the gap if we have the revenue.
Okay, we'll give you the numbers for each teacher, the number of years of experience they have and the degree.
Do you want it by year, or do you want it the 20 to 25 and
Just
15 to 20, 20 and 25?
No, I think we just need to know the number of teachers in each one of the gap areas.
Okay.
What was it?
Total.
15 to 20 and then 25 and above? Wasn't that what they were?
25 would be
Okay.
the there.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments for me, please? All right, thank you.
Thank you. We need report on pupil-teacher ratio.
Yes, sir. I gave that to you this evening. This one's hot off the presses from today's numbers. We are up slightly over where we ended last year. Of course, we would like to see more students coming in. Our pupil-teacher ratio in K through 3 district-wide is 18.87. In 4 through 6, it's 21.3. Our district average is 19.76 for adding all grades and taking it by the number of students. Each school had its own personality here as far as growth or not growth. Part of it is when we did the rezoning, we had increases at Hobgood and we had decreases at Pittard. We had increases at Northfield and we had decreases at Reeves Rogers and from where we were last year. But these are the numbers in front of you. I don't know if anyone has any questions about them, but we hope to grow some more during the year.
Would you kind of refurbish those that don't understand the pupil-teacher ratio and how what the state does and how they group them? And I think that will answer part of Ms. Smith's question.
Sure. The state of Tennessee provides funding at a 20-to-1 pupil-teacher ratio for K through 3. They allow an average for K through 3 with all the classes added together to 20.49. But an individual class can go as big as 25-to-1 in K through 3. The state funds grades 4 through 6 at 25-to-1. And then they allow up to 25.49 for an average for K3 in a school, and they allow an individual class to actually grow to 30-to-1 in grades 4 through 6. So we try to target less than the 20-to-1 in K through 3, and we shoot for an average in 4 through 6 of about 22-to-1 average for school. And since we can't control how the students come in, we don't know how we're going to be able to divide them. One class may be 24, another class may be 20. It's, again, the state looks at averages and they fund on average. They divide your total number of K3 students by 20. For the younger ones, and then 4 through 6, they divide the total number of 4 through 6 students by 25. And so that's the funding formula that we get.
I got that. I'm sorry. Apparently, this is a very current document.
Yeah.
It is.
That you added a 6th grade teacher today at one of the schools.
Yes.
Okay, so
This was finished
so that's
about
awesome.
3 o'clock today.
Yeah, so thank you.
For the first 2 weeks of school, we get this report every day.
Yeah.
We fill this out. And then we take a break until Labor Day, and then we take it for the first few days after Labor Day, since that tends to have some movement at that time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other questions? All right, Mr. King?
Just on the 6th grade at Irma Siegel, is that all we have? 6th grade students?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we plan to work on that.
That's because you've got
The middle.
Siegel Middle School right next door.
Jump.
Oh, yeah.
Pittard didn't change as much as
just
they
don't
used
remember
to
when it was.
for 6th grade, did you? You didn't change as much for 6th graders, the class size going down as in the past?
Up from last year.
Yep.
I stay at 3. I've been at 3 for several years.
John Pittard is exactly the same number. They ended last year at 64. Hold on, wrong sheet. Oh, that's where they are now. Let me get last year's. John Pittard last year had 53 in students in 6th grade. This year they have 64.
What was Irma Siegel last year?
Irma Siegel last year had 29 students at the end of the year.
Okay. So we're down to 13 now.
Just didn't know if that was a typo.
Well,
I want to thank the principals for their patience with this. They have been giving us numbers, and today it got to the point that I just said, give me the seats. I need the number in the seats. And so that's where we went. With some of these, there's a possibility of, you always have a possibility with some of moving more teachers, but what we tried to do is look at where there might be possibly growth throughout the year. For example, if you look at scales in 2nd grade. But right now, we have left a teacher there because we expect growth. I'm hoping we see some growth and I expect to see some more growth at Pittard, but I feel pretty comfortable. 2nd grade is one that looked long and hard, but it's been this time of year is not really a lot of fun with trying to decide when you're talking about taxpayer money and yet wanting to have those people-teacher ratios small enough for them to be reasonable for students to learn. And I do, unlike the research, I do think it does make a difference how many students you have in a classroom, because I think you have to be able to see them to teach them.
True.
So.
True. All right. I do see Mr. Settle. Mr. Settle, you want to stand up? We welcome you to our board meeting tonight. Glad you could be here and look forward to working with you later on, sitting up here around the table.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, do we have anything else that needs to come before the board? Ms. Renier, other business?
Those of us who went to the law conference a few weeks ago, I need to what's the proper phrasing? I need to let you know that we spoke as a group about something, and we talked about perhaps the board getting a business card made that we can use to hand out to parents or teachers or community members, maybe have the logo on one side and the back side have the board. And of course, we were having an election, we knew we'd have more new members. So to put our phone numbers on the back of the card perhaps, and so we discussed that when we were together. I have to disclose that.
Okay.
Another thought, for other business, I think it's planning purposes. We need to come up with a retreat soon.
Probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, we can work on that too. Pick a date. All right.
Maybe y'all could email us with some optional dates for that.
Okay.
I also have, if we want to do the PTA meetings as we did last year, where each of us go, or perhaps all of us, if they were not on the same days, perhaps all of us go as a group. So I've got the names of schools here with our new members in case we want to draw names later.
Well, we didn't draw, we just picked schools last year, didn't we?
I think I just kind of made a list and worked it out and handed it out, tried to get one school close to your home, and the other one was...
Are those meetings pretty well being scheduled now, Lisa, do you know?
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, I was going to say about Benjamin.
I was going to say, how quick, principals, those of you that are here, how quick will you have that first?
But yeah, they usually schedule it.
We made on a regular.
But I mean, you've got the schedule already, that's what I'm saying. Okay. How quick will you have your first one?
Monday.
Next Monday? Okay.
During school or at night?
All right. Lisa, can you get us a list of those, what you have as far as dates and times And then I would, if you will send that to us through an email, then board members, I would suggest that perhaps you look at the list and pick out a couple that you could go to and get back with Lisa, and let's see if we can get those scheduled, as many as possible, as soon as possible. Okay? All right, anything else coming before the board tonight? Do I have a I thought somebody was talking. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. See you in 2 weeks.